Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For this guide for Clara, I'll be giving you her best relics, light cones, team comp, rotations, pros and cons, and whether she's worth building. You can sit back and relax, and if you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Do you have a character or light cone in the game that you really want, but you don't have enough StellarJades? Fortunately, lootbar.gg allows you to buy StellarJades at a discounted rate for all regions. Lootbar is one of the fastest and most reliable recharging platform with attractive discount rates. For an example, I will buy the 1980 StellarJade package for $26.40, which otherwise would have cost me $29.99, saving me a total of 20%. And also new users get an additional 5% off. To purchase, simply enter your UID and region and to receive your package in less than 30 minutes. All recharges are done through the official channel with miHoYo, which allows you to enjoy all top-up offers. Now you will be ready to get your favorite characters. Check the link in the description and pinned comment to get the amazing discounts. I won't delve into her abilities since I assume most of you are familiar with how she works. For an overview, Clara has the physical element and comes from the path of destruction. She excels in both single target and AoE scenarios. She's also the cheapest and easiest 5-star DPS unit to build. For her Eidolons, I won't be going through it, but here's the DPS calculations. For her best price to performance ratio, E0 is ideal, as higher Eidolons will barely benefit Clara. I personally wouldn't recommend anyone to spend their StellarJades on the standard banner to obtain Clara, or even select her if you've reached 300 pulse. Now, on to building Clara. For the body, you want either crit rate or crit damage. For the boots, go for attack % only. When it comes to substat priority, focus on crit rate, followed by crit damage, and attack % lastly. Avoid any defensive substats as they're not useful for her. Here are her ideal stats. Make sure you have at least 60% crit rate, even if you have 120% crit damage. Missing crit hits multiple times during her enhanced follow-up attack can significantly drop her DPS, so it's crucial to maintain that 60% crit rate threshold. Note that going for triple S tier on Clara is actually useless, as even with an extra 40% crit damage her DPS only increases by 13.3%. I highly recommend players to just stick with S tier relics on her. For her relic sets, you can choose any of the sets listed, as they won't affect Clara's DPS by much. However, if you have good stats on Longvis, you can use it for the 16% free crit rate bonus, but players should avoid farming for Longvis, as it's not worth the trailblaze power. Personally, I recommend 2-piece Duke with Prisoner, as it's the most universal and efficient set for your account. Now, for the planar ornament, for the rope, prioritize attack %. For the orb, go for physical damage boost over attack %. While there's a 4.9% DPS loss with physical damage boost, attack % is still decent to use if you have triple S tier substats. Clara has several planar ornament sets she can use. Inert Salsodo is the best due to the 8% crit rate bonus, helping you to easily hit that 60% minimum crit rate threshold on Clara with a crit damage body. Space Station and Glamonth DPS aren't far off, but you need at least 15% crit rate from the substat for it to be viable. Sigonia is also tied with Salsodo, due to the 4% crit rate, even if you're putting Clara in for MOC runs, as the DPS difference between all Relic Set bonuses has little to no difference. Overall, Salsodo is the set you want to farm for, as you don't need S tier substats on it. Moving on to her light cones, at last place, both Secret Vow and Moles at S5. Secret Vow isn't that good due to the very low uptime on that 40% damage boost, especially when you have a limited 5-star sustain unit. For Moles, Clara is only able to get 48% attack and Clara goes really slow, so you get that DPS boost only after the second cycle. At second place, it's both her signature light cone S1 and Blue Sky at S5. Most players may find this shocking, but her light cone buffs aren't that high, resulting in lower DPS output. During early to mid-game, that HP heal will help new players a lot, but with a good sustain, that bonus heal is useless. The main downside to her Sig LC is that Clara's DPS falls off significantly if you're up against slow, non-aggressive or single-target enemies. Under the Blue Sky has that 24% crit rate bonus for 3 turns, where players will have a way easier time to build Clara. You can run 50% crit rate on her, but you should still aim for 60% crit rate at minimum with this LC. The DPS difference only falls short by 5.2% compared to Aeon, which has the same downsides as her signature LC, as you need to defeat enemies in 3 cycles. But if you're up against Aventurine, you will instantly lose that 24% crit rate bonus in less than 2 cycles. However, both LC are very solid options if another unit is using Aeon. At first place, it's the fall of an Aeon S5. Aeon is the best in slot with Clara, as she's able to keep the max DPS bonus from this light cone at a 100% uptime, thanks to her having a ton of attacks even with her taking lesser turns compared to other DPS units. This means she gets the max buff from this LC for 2 cycles. Even if you're facing single target enemies, she's also able to easily break enemy weaknesses not only from her follow-up attacks but also skill. Here are the DPS calculations for the light cones. Overall, players should just use what they have available for Clara if you have her top 3 light cones, as any of the light cones shouldn't affect you in clearing MOC 1 cycle faster. For her team comp and rotations, Clara's best team comp will be with Topaz, Robin and Aventurine. Ruan Mei still works well but loses to Robin hugely when you're running a secondary DPS unit. Her weakness break delay can be a slight problem with Clara too. If you don't have Aventurine, you can run Huo or Fuxuan, and even Lynx as an F2P option due to her aggro manipulation. Now, on to Clara's pros and cons. Pros: she's S tier. Many would say that she's A tier, but she can clear MOC 12 easily with the right scenario. F2P friendly. E0 sufficient. Cheap and easy to build. Where you only need S tier relics on Clara. Most of her damage output is outside of her turns, making great use of buffs. Great in both AoE and single target scenarios. Can be SP positive. One of the best units to bring as a secondary DPS unit. Cons: better relics after S tier or higher Eidolons will barely increase Clara's DPS. Not a unit you use often. Only usable if the enemy has physical weakness. Bad at being a single hyper carry DPS unit for late game MOC stages, where you have to run her with another DPS unit. Struggles against slow enemies or non-aggressive enemies. So, should you build Clara? If you need a physical DPS unit? Yes. If you have Topaz? Yes. If you like her design? Yes. If you don't need her or if you're pulling Jade for Topaz? No. For her ranking as a single hyper DPS unit, I would rate her a 4 out of 10. As a standard secondary DPS unit, she's a 6.5 out of 10, but with Topaz she's an 8.8 out of 10. Clara is a great unit, but honestly, building her is optional, as she's not a DPS unit you will use often. Even if she's good for MOC or pure fiction, you may not have the opportunity to use her for at least a month depending on the content that Hoyo releases. Let me know your thoughts down below about Clara and if you're building her. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, it really helps out a ton. And that's it for this guide.